So if you didn't know, Wuthering Waves has a little bit of an advertising issue at the moment whenever it comes to just bringing out new content over the kind of slower patches where people kind of need that extra kind of boost. And if you saw one of my previous videos, I actually talked about this at length, a couple things that Wuthering Waves could do to kind of improve this, with one of them including stuff like animation. And that's something that I just really wanted to get into in this video and just go into a little bit more detail about how Wuthering Waves could use animation and anime to kind of further their game even more, and going into how other companies and other games have used animation to kind of further their game as well. Because I definitely think this will be very beneficial for Wuthering Waves in the future, especially whenever it comes to the future updates. Obviously we've got 2.0 set to come out very soon, and also we got 1.4 which could have benefited with maybe an animation or something like that as well. Now obviously this isn't to say that nothing is in the works or anything like that. There could actually be something in the works that Wuthering Waves are doing in the background. Obviously I'm not over at Gacha Games' studio or anything like that, so I don't know what they're working on, but I definitely think it is something that has been lacking over the past couple of months. I think it is something that a lot of players would like to see added to the entire Wuthering Waves community as a whole. So in this video, we're going to be going through everything you need to know about this, what kind of methods they could use, and whether it's likely Wuthering Waves are going to do an animation or an anime in the future, and just having an overall kind of discussion about it. But again, if you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and also go to my more channel where I'm actually trying to push for 1,000 subs at the moment, because this gets me monetization for my second channel. Obviously, I've got a ton of reactions and other kind of Wuthering Waves content over there if you guys want to go over there and see it, because again, it's a little bit different to this kind of content. I'm more reacting to trailers and other people's videos, so I definitely recommend going over there if you want more content, but kind of different. So definitely go over there. It'll be down in the link in the description below. And yeah, let's get back into the video. So what kind of spurred me on to actually talk about this as well is also the Camellya trailer. Now obviously, as I said, that's out on my second channel as well, but this trailer was actually really good. It had a lot of really good visuals, and I think Wuthering Waves have found a really good style whenever it comes to animating a lot of their trailers. Now obviously this counts as a 3D trailer or a kind of in-game trailer, and doesn't actually count as a 2D kind of anime style trailer, because again, although it does look very high quality, it still isn't that kind of 2D aspect that we're looking for. But that's totally fine, because obviously Resonator showcases need a 3D animation and things like that. But I definitely think another trailer alongside this, maybe in a couple weeks time, or maybe a couple weeks before this, would have been actually really good to help promote Camellya even further. Now that's not to say that maybe Gacha Games is cooking up something that might be coming out in the future, but again, it would be really nice to see a 2D animated kind of trailer for a lot of these characters, because I think it does get a lot of the audience a little bit more invested. Now, how can they actually do this? Well, obviously, one of the examples I use quite a lot is Honkai Star and Genshin Impact. They know how to do a lot of their animated shorts really well. Now, this is one that was actually made by Hoyoverse. Again, it's on 1.9 million views, and it's a Fei Xiao and Jing Yuan kind of a joint short thing. Now, this isn't for any particular reason. I think it was, around the time that Fei Xiao was coming out. It does help a lot of her banner sales, but at the same time, there's nothing special going on. They just made a short because they know that people enjoy it, and I think that is something that Wuthering Waves do need to take into account. I think that a lot of this animation stuff got a lot of people very excited for, although it is quite a lot of work to do an animation, it does get a lot of people excited online and gets people talking about the game a lot more, especially whenever you've got stuff that maybe isn't coming out in updates and, you got slower content, because let's be real here, Wuthering Waves doesn't release too much in terms of content. And obviously that's completely fine. Obviously I've seen a lot of people saying it's more of a content creator issue, and maybe it is, but I definitely think that with the addition of animations and a few more bits of advertising, I think it could keep the hype up for Wuthering Waves for, for a little bit longer, because even though it is the content creators that are complaining about, the overall content in the game, it still doesn't take away with the fact that there still is nothing going on in between that time. Now, many of you guys may be playing a different game or something like that, but I definitely think having these shorts and stuff, especially whenever people are away playing other gacha games, will bring people back into the kind of community and remember, oh hey, this game does exist and this game is cooking with a lot of these animations. So again, it will be very cool to see if Wuthering Waves do something like this. And well, how can they actually do this? Because obviously it's all great and all saying there should be an anime or short animations or anything like that, but what could they actually do? How could they actually do it? Well, at the start of this animation here, you can actually see this was created by MiHoYo Anime, who are actually a kind of anime company that are based in China, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, it's run by MiHoYo, and pretty much all they've done is animations, to do with Genshin, Honkai. They had one for Honkai Impact 3rd as well, which is like a full-on animation with all the characters. which again, I think is great. And it's really cool to see that MiHoYo have their own company that kind of work on this stuff and also do really well. I mean, all of these animations have been really, really good. And I think, you know, they really do cook with it. And I think that is something that Gacha Games could maybe look into, is creating a kind of subsidiary out of their kind of company and creating, you know, like Kuro Anime or something similar to that, and using that to create some of their trailers, and also using that to maybe create an anime in the future, because again, that is what HoYoverse have done. And as you can see here from the ratings, it's been very well received. You know, we got like 8 stars, 7 stars, they're all doing pretty decently. So again, it does work, and it does get people very, very excited for the game. And it also just gets people more invested in the lore. Obviously, you know, with the Camellya trailer and stuff like that, it got people very interested in her lore and the overall kind of character design of Camellya, of her going kind of like insane. I definitely think that is a very, very good aspect of a lot of these trailers. And I think that being able to animate a lot of this stuff could actually provide a lot more of a benefit as well. Because again, you can kind of tell stories that maybe you wouldn't be able to tell with the character models, and also maybe go into some of their past and stuff, which is something that Genshin Impact do quite a bit, you know, especially in the events and things that we've seen with cutscenes. They like to use like traditional kind of Chinese style like animation, not entirely like anime style, like kind of traditional style, which definitely helps them out whenever it comes to, you know, telling some of the past of the characters in the story. And I think it does benefit them, and we have seen that in Wuthering Waves in the game as well. Obviously with the story with the sheep, as we saw with Scar, I think, you know, they do actually kind of implement it a little bit. So it would be nice to see them implement it into trailers as well. Now, Wuthering Waves have kind of gone on to some of this anime kind of style stuff. Now, obviously, as we've seen with this, they've been releasing a couple of shorts with the characters that are coming out with this kind of style. But again, they're only really short, you know, it's about like 15 seconds long, and there isn't really much movement or anything like that to, you know, get people that excited. But it is cool to see that they are kind of experimenting with that, which could hint at maybe something coming in the future. But again, we'll have to wait and see if something like that actually happens, because again, I'm unsure on whether, you know, Wuthering Waves will release some kind of animation or something like that. But I definitely think if they do want to keep up with a lot of the gacha games that are out at the moment, they do need to start releasing this, because not only is companies like HoYoverse making these animations, even some of the games that are more at a similar kind of popularity level as Wuthering Waves, such as Nikkei, are making anime adaptations, which is being currently discussed with a major Japanese studio, and apparently it's supposed to be like something to do with like Netflix as well, which again is absolutely amazing. And I think Wuthering Waves do need to keep up with games like this to, you know, kind of have a fighting chance whenever it comes to, you know, just being popular overall, because again, it does help. Now, obviously, this can kind of vary on different kind of aspects and stuff like that. Obviously, Genshin Impact, they've got 2 kind of things that they've got going on. They've got this anime, which is being worked with Ufotable, which is another option that Wuthering Waves do have, is to work with an outside source, work with an outside, you know, studio that can actually help them to make this anime that they've been wanting to make. But also, it doesn't have to be a full-blown anime like this, and, you know, as I said, they could use their own kind of anime company or whatever they kind of make up to make these kind of animated shorts, which are pretty much just glorified trailers, you know? I definitely think that glorified trailers and animated shorts are definitely the way to go for Wuthering Waves at the moment, and then obviously in the future you can talk about making an anime, but I think it is a little bit too soon for that, so I'm not saying that they should be doing that. But I think with like animated shorts and stuff, I think that's something that they definitely need to get on as soon as possible, because again, it's going to help people understand the overall lore a bit more, maybe entice more people to come over, because again, there's that kind of like crossover in audiences of anime fans and gacha game players who kind of like both things, and a lot of anime fans will see some of these animations, especially with like Honkai stuff, and they'll go, oh, this is kind of like anime style thing, I really like that. And then obviously they'll go over to the game, try it out, and maybe they'll become a full-time player, you never know. So that is something that Wuthering Waves could, you know, get into. And also the last thing I wanted to talk about was the funding. How can they actually receive funding? Well, recently it seems like the Chinese government, kind of more in specific for HoYoverse's case, the Shanghai kind of council, government, whatever you want to call it, have actually been putting a lot of money into making animated film franchises and stuff like that. And, you know, HoYoverse actually got a ton of money for Genshin, Honkai, you know, Honkai Star and Honkai Impact 3rd, animated films and stuff like that, where they've actually gotten a ton of grants for money. Now, obviously, you know, HoYoverse has a ton of money anyway, so they could probably afford it either way. It doesn't really matter, but it is good to see that, you know, they are kind of incentivizing it and helping these companies out, and maybe Gacha Games could look into getting something similar to that. I don't really know where they're based, so it could be a little bit different. But again, it would be really cool to see Wuthering Waves doing something like that. And obviously, you know, Wuthering Waves does make enough money to actually be able to afford to make these kind of shorts and stuff like that, which is an argument which I have heard, which is people being like, oh, well, you know, they don't make that much anyways, so they can't really afford to make an anime studio or something like that, that will help to make their trailers and things like that. which I don't think is the case at all. I think, you know, Gacha Games definitely do have a lot of money to actually spare, and I think that a lot of it could go into some of the trailers, and, you know, they've already put a lot of money into so many other features, so why not this one too? But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about in this video about this whole animation kind of situation with Wuthering Waves. I definitely think it would be a cool addition to the game. And yeah, let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that, you know, this would be a good addition to Wuthering Waves, or do you think that it's better off without kind of 2D animation and stuff like that included in trailers? Because I think it will help to kind of, you know, boost the game's popularity and kind of boost the awareness of the game, especially in the anime community. And yeah, I definitely think it's going to help them in the long run. But yeah, that's spoiling off this video. If you didn't like it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And as I said, go over to my More Kisahana channel. Again, I definitely recommend checking it out. There's going to be a ton of videos coming out on there, and there already is a ton of videos coming out on there. So yeah, go over there, give it a check out, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya!